What's going on, people? I want to comment on Akon's comments towards the so-called Black Americans, where he is saying that the Africans are better performers than the so-called Black Americans. He also says that it's natural to them to perform, and he spoke on how the Black American performers get on stage with their pants hanging down. They're drunk and they're high. They're bad performers. And I agree with him on that. I grew up in an age, man, like where Black Americans dominated the entertainment field. They dominated just about anything that they put their hearts and their mind to do. And it's raw talent. There's talent that you don't even see. Talent that's in the church, and many of the R&B singers came out of the church. If you go to a lot of these Pentecostal churches, you have children like at the age of maybe 5 or 6 on drums or singing in choir. So they start at a very young age. It's natural talent for a lot of so-called Black Americans. I'm sitting there in the car, my little granddaughter in the back seat, she's 9 years old, and she was singing. And to be honest, I was quite surprised that she's got a voice. She can sing. See, so that's like a natural thing with the so-called Black Americans. And there is no way that the Africans from the continent will dethrone the Black Americans. There's no way, because the Black Americans are engraved in just about every genre of music in the world. So there's no way. And I know that the Kenyans are their poster child. They're always talking about the Kenyans and how the Kenyans and the Nigerians are this and that and the other. That's your poster child. And I think that's a lot of where the competition is coming from. But I find it interesting because Akon made that comment, but yet he was born in America, raised up among Black Americans, and he got his shot from Black Americans. There are so many comedians, actors, actresses, musicians that are non-FBA that got their start with the so-called Black Americans. Drake is one of them. Eminem, Jim Carrey, and there's a host of other. Tina Marie got her start with Rick James. And I remember hearing Tina Marie, and I thought she was a Black woman. So Tina Marie can blow. She can sing. That white woman can sing, but she became popular within the Black community. The Black community was the one that put her on, just like the Black community put Akon on. And now you find that you got Africans from the continent, like Michael Blackson. He got put on by Black Americans, and he's not even funny. To me, Michael Blackson is not funny at all, but yet he got put on by the so-called Black Americans. And for him to say that Africans are better performers, come on, bro, you deceived. You're sad. I understand that you want to make your people look good, but like I said, Black Americans they're engraved in just about every genre of music. And I wrote down a few just to brag a little bit. I mean, you got Black Americans that's dead and alive, that there's no competition at all, man. You have Jimi Hendrix. Remember Jimi Hendrix? That was in rock music. Chuck Berry, Chubby Checker. And I know a lot of y'all don't know nothing about Chubby Checker and Chuck Berry. Jackie Wilson. As a matter of fact, Jackie Wilson was the one that Elvis Presley had impersonated. So when you hear Elvis Presley, you hear Jackie Wilson. When you watch the dances of Elvis Presley, you see the dances of Jackie Wilson, Little Richard, Chuck Berry, James Brown. A lot of them get their stuff from FBAs, Foundational Black Americans. Then you got Prince, just to name a few. And back when I was growing up, they had different elements or genres of rock music. They had soft rock, they had hard rock, And then they had acid rock. And a lot of y'all don't know about acid rock music, right? They had that music that we looked at as demonic. We had like 45s and albums, and with a lot of the acid rock and the hard rock, you can spin the turntable backwards and you can hear demonic messages in the music, right? Well, that's the equivalent of what they call today, what's that music they got out now? Trap music. All right. That's the equivalent of trap music today. And you're dealing with a certain group of Black Americans, not all Black Americans. So when you try to compare those African kids, those street dancers those African street performers, if you watch what they do, because I've seen them, they're impersonating Black Americans. A lot of them try to impersonate Michael Jackson. But you see a lot of what they do, they got it from Black Americans. Their dress, they got it from Black Americans. Their whole style got it from Black Americans. And even when it comes to acting, because I see more Africans now on Netflix and people from the UK now. You had Albert Idris, I think that's his name, from the UK. He's a good actor, okay? You got some good actors coming from the UK, right? But the African actors and actresses, they're bad actors. They're bad actresses. And I understand that they're trying to engraft you guys into Netflix and in the movies, but there's no way that you are going to dethrone the so-called Black Americans. You're not going to replace Black American. It's just not going to happen. Black Americans are grounded in every genre of music, entertainment, sports. Now, the Kenyans, they can run in track and field. They can run. I give them that. Okay, but when it comes to pure talent, raw talent, Akon is sadly mistaken. And I agree with him when it comes to modern day, because we had R&B. The only way you can dethrone so-called Black Americans is if they allow you to. But you got to understand, Black Americans, R&B, you don't hear that anymore. You're going to have to listen to old school R&B to get R&B. And I'm hoping that young people would bring it back. Okay. But that's something that you can't touch Black Americans. You can't do it. And the only way that you're really going to become known is if the so-called Black Americans accept you, right? That's where the power is. Black Americans are the gatekeepers of entertainment, believe it or not. Now, you may get put on by whites or somebody else, but if you really want to blow up, that's why you find even Arabs and Asians, when they come to America, they set up business in the Black community because that's where they make their money at. And even with that, I have never really seen the Arabs disrespect Black Americans, but the Asians have. But now you have a lot of them that's doing good things and they're supporting Black Americans more than the Africans are. Okay, so when y'all start talking about Black Americans need to stop complaining, and we've pulled ourselves up. Okay, when we had support of no one, it was us against the world. And Black Americans, even when they tried to kill us off, Black Americans still rose to the top. So feedback, tell me what you think. Till next time, I'm fearless.